You are listening to Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd. Ask us about relationships. Ask us about birth. We talk about health and well-being. Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd is about the holistic treatment of people. You are listening to motivatingradio.com. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Hello, welcome to Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd on Motivating Radio. On today, we have a beautiful guest with us today. I'm super excited to share, but before I do, I just want to thank you for taking out time to spend time with me on this morning. I am Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd, the owner and operator of the Tree of Life Birth, Counseling, and Wellness Center. I am also the owner of the nonprofit Completely Fit, A Healthy Lifestyle, in which we focus on individual, couple, and families' maternal and mental wellness. We're super excited on today because nutrition is very important to us. Health and wellness is very important to us. And on today, we have the lovely and beautiful Chef Charm with us on today. Just going to share a little bit about her journey. And so before we get started talking about all the delicious food she makes, let's start where this all began. Chef Charm, tell us a little bit about what got you started into food.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Dr. Cheryl, for inviting me. I just want to say that I'm very honored to be here and very excited to share my story. So, again, I am Chef Charm. I am a vegan chef from Dallas, Texas. And the way that this came about was changing my life. Changing my life meant saving my life. In 2020, I've shared the story with you. Mm-hmm. I got sick with COVID. It was very fresh, very new. So it was in the summertime. It was actually around this time. It was really around this time in 2020. I was making a dish. I was making this dish called moussaka. It's a Mediterranean dish. And I couldn't taste the spices. And I thought it was allergies. But when I found out that I couldn't taste the spices, I knew I had COVID. And I was scared because I had kids. At that time, my husband at that time was going to work and I was working from home. So within a few days, I got very, very sick. And at that time, I was excessive morbid obese. So I weighed about 350 pounds. I was on blood pressure medicine. So I was a high risk factor. During that process, I was scared. I was scared for my life. And I literally prayed. So I prayed and I asked God to please keep me. Don't let me die. So I was on medication and everything. So during that process, I couldn't really eat, but I drank plenty of fluids. So by the end of the recovery, I decided to go on a fast. And so what I did, I fasted from sugar. I fasted from meat and dairy. It's normally called the Daniel fast, and it's very, very strict. So today's Daniel fast includes other things, but this Daniel fast was strictly fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, things of that nature. So while I was on that fast, I began to get downloads. I don't know if anyone understands what that means. So like if you get a vision or if you're thinking about something and you see yourself doing something. I saw myself making certain dishes that I liked, but it was plant-based. I never ever had done it before. So I did a little bit of research. So I wanted to make what I called what do you call that? Philly cheesesteaks. Yes. I miss Philly cheesesteaks. So I used jackfruit. I used jackfruit to make these Philly cheesesteaks, and I wanted them to be egg rolls. So I made Philly cheesesteak egg rolls, and I'm going to be showing you that later on. Yeah. And when I made it, I couldn't believe it. It was so good because of the certain spices and all that stuff. But anyway, after doing so, I met a couple of friends who were actually plant-based. They tried my food and they were like, girl, this is really good. You need to sell it. I wasn't thinking about doing it. I'm working from home, working at in higher education. And so I went from working for a university here in Dallas to becoming a personal chef and a meal prep chef. Beautiful. And it just, like I said, it changed my mind. Changed my life and my mindset. So 3 years later, I've lost over 100 pounds.
Congratulations.
Yes, over 100 pounds. Not saying that being plant-based means that you will lose weight because we'll talk about how there are good and bad vegans.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But anyway, it totally changed my life, changed the way I felt, no more joint pain, being able to think clearer, being able to be more active, just a lot of things.
Right.
So this journey is still a journey for me. I'm not going to say that it was easy, but it has become easy because my palate is more eclectic.
Got it.
So I make all genres of food: Mediterranean, Salvadorian, Mexican, Italian, Asian, just all kinds.
And they're all plant-based.
They're all 100% plant-based because here's the reality. Other cultures use more fruits and vegetables and grains in their food than American diet. That's what's really sad.
Yeah.
We've been raised on meat and potatoes, and not that that's a bad thing, but you need to eat the rainbow. Your body comes from the earth. We need to eat more things that actually derive from the earth. We need to eat our water, like watermelon, like cucumber, like celery.
Yes.
So
refreshing.
Exactly, very
So refreshing.
Yes, we can get vitamin D and vitamin B and vitamin K, iron from fruits and vegetables and legumes, and versus just taking a multivitamin. Not that that isn't good, because I believe in supplements. However, if you eat with purpose, if you drink with purpose, then you live on purpose. Sometimes
I love that.
It's the truth, because we're living and we're not living with purpose.
Yeah.
We want to succeed in life. We want to build legacy for our kids. But if we're not teaching our kids how to live while they're building legacy, they're going to die early.
I love that. As a naturopathic practitioner, it is so important to me that individuals understand the power that we have within ourselves, right? To heal ourselves, to do whatever we desire to do. It's just about having that mindset.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about, veganism, and let's talk a little bit about that. For those who don't know, veganism is a way of eating in which, and not just eating, it's a way of living in which vegans believe and understand in the importance of the animals, and so they do that to protect the animals. So there's no leather being worn, no animal products at all are being consumed, worn, invested in, or any of those things. And so everything is truly plant-based. And as said, everything in moderation is important.
Exactly.
There are unhealthy vegans, and there are unhealthy people that eat meat.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about my journey into. My husband and I have had so many different arrays of going from vegan to vegetarian to now pescatarian. And initially, I watched this movie called What the Health, a documentary.
Yes.
And it wasn't about the cruelty to the animals that got me. It was all the things they were showing in regards to how animals are diseased and they're infectious and they're sick. And we're eating that.
Right, exactly.
And so that was what started my path, which was fine because it was nice to get that jump start on understanding the importance on eating to live versus living to eat. Right. And so because of that, I won't even talk about necessarily the weight loss. I'll talk about the increased energy, the vitality, the lack of these low moods that I used to feel. Just the spring in my step, the excitement about life. It all just kind of came full circle to me that it felt good putting vegetables and fruits and watermelon and cucumber into my diet, and then also ginger, turmeric,
joints.
Yes, all that is very important. And I think that when we talk about plant-based, we miss leading over towards the fact that we use a lot of herbs. That is good for our bodies.
I love it.
And so as a naturopathic practitioner, I teach people that they can heal themselves from the inside out.
It's the truth.
And so you experienced that yourself.
Yes.
Right.
And as you're talking, I'm thinking about, so I mentioned how in 2020, my blood pressure was high. My blood pressure had got up to the 200s.
Ooh.
I could have either had a stroke or a heart attack.
Yes, ma'am.
But by the grace of God, I didn't. And so a year after that, when I went to the doctor, my doctor was like, your blood pressure is low. You really don't have to take medication. But she was like, but just in case,
Yeah.
keep it or whatever. So I kept it just in case and whatnot. And so I will say that when I lost my father last Easter,
Condolences.
yeah, I think stress caused that. And you know why? Because I stopped doing certain things. So I had, once I got over that, I got back into my regimen, and ashwagandha
Yeah.
is more natural than taking lisinopril, hydrochlorothiazide. When I take ashwagandha, the liquid, within 5 minutes, I feel better.
Yeah.
So if I feel my pressure trying to rise, and it could be for many different reasons,
Right.
it goes away. It literally goes away. So that dependency on pharmaceutical medicine, and nothing against it. I'm not speaking against anyone who's taking pharmaceutical medicine.
Right.
Take your
It's
medicine, meet
needed.
with your doctor.
Yeah.
However, what a lot of doctors don't tell you and may not be aware of, and they do say this, change your diet. They'll say change your diet, exercise, but they don't give specifics. Why? Because they don't know. And, everything may not work for everybody, so I'm not soliciting to stop eating meat. I'm not soliciting to people to stop eating dairy, but I am soliciting to eat more plant-based foods.
Absolutely.
Or, and when I say plant-based, I'm not talking about, the advertised, faux meats and cheeses out there, even though I use those, but those are not my main ingredients.
Got
I
it.
touch everything. I make and I create everything. And you as my client,
Yes.
as one of my meal prep clients, you actually know that majority of the food
Absolutely.
that I give you guys, even my sauces, whatever, I create and I make that. So I'm just, I'm grateful and I'm thankful that my mindset has changed. It's really a mindset.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset shift. And that's exactly what I was going to say, because like you're saying, like everybody, we all have choices and we make them each and every day. I tell people, even in therapy, we're all faced with two choices.
Right.
And in those choices, when we're faced with making a choice about something, there's two choices and they're both hard.
Right. It's true.
It's the hard of understanding what happens if you don't do what you need to do.
Come on. It's so true.
And it's the hard of understanding what's going to happen if you do what
Right.
you're going to do.
Exactly.
An example of something like that would be this morning, over this May month of graduations and proms and birthday celebrations and weddings, and it's been busy.
Yeah.
So to get up this morning, the heart of that was just getting out of bed, like just opening my eyes this morning and getting out of bed. But I was grateful, right? And so my gratitude goes into continuing to share with the community.
Yes.
So it was hard to get here. It was hard getting here.
Yeah.
But the alternative of not getting information out to the community is a heart that I'm not willing
That's good.
to be okay with.
That's good.
So when it comes to my health and my well-being, it is hard working out.
Listen.
It is hard doing yoga. It is hard meditating. It is hard going to your therapist. It is hard doing these necessary things. It's hard eating right.
Right.
Especially when you've been conditioned
Right.
to eat a certain kind of way.
It's true.
So there's two hearts in everything.
That's
I think
good.
that you have to choose your heart
Yeah.
and just understand the consequences of that choice.
I love what you just said, because here's a shift in what you said. So let's say that you transition from eating, meat and dairy, and you transition to being vegan, but you're still eating the same way. You're still eating hamburgers, but they're vegan hamburgers. You're still eating pizza, but it's vegan pizza. So you made an alternative. And again, I'm not saying that you can't do that, but you're not just eating a bowl of fruit.
Right.
You're not eating hummus and cucumber. You understand? Instead, you're
Absolutely.
eating Lay's barbecue potato chips because I love Lay's barbecue. They vegan, y'all. They good. And I make this barbecue beef or beef, I call it. But anyway, let me get back. So, but this is what I'm saying, you know. So you can transition, but if you still if it has not flipped in your mind that I need to eat some carrots or I need to eat some sauteed spinach, because spinach is actually better sauteed than it is in its raw form. So these are things, and I know you're like, well, how do I know that? You Google everything else.
Or, you know what, and also we have people in position though, because with that being said, before we go any further, like, tell us about the services that you do offer.
Of course. Yes. So, guys, I am a personal chef, meal prep chef, and now I am a vegan chef at a local steakhouse in Dallas, Cedar Hill.
Can you imagine that? You are at a steakhouse and you're preparing vegan meals.
Yeah, it's oxymoron. But listen,
I love it.
Here's the thing. We live in a society now where people are back out, right? So although it's not 100% vegan restaurant or anything, I am the vegan chef. I know how to prepare vegan options. I know how to make sure things are separated, so I won't be preparing your food where meat is prepared, because I know some people, they're very strict on that, and I respect that, and I'm that way too. Also, if you're gluten free, I know how to prepare. I have a gluten free station, so and I prepare gluten free dishes and whatnot. So again, I'm a meal prep chef, personal chef. I offer catering as well. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Charmed by Missa. That's CharmedBymissa. It's a play on my name, Charmissa, Charmed by Missa. And so these are the things that I offer, but there are going to be more things in the future.
Absolutely.
Ebooks, e-cookbooks. I do food demonstrations. I also do teachings as well. I'm a pretty busy lady, but I need an assistant. So anybody want to come assist me? Come on, let's do this.
Okay, you heard me. Listen, so one of the things I wanted to share was like, okay, so I talked about starting my journey, right? And I started, my journey as a vegan. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be real honest. In the very beginning, I didn't have a Charm by Misa.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Chef Charm. Right. So I was trying to figure it out, my husband and I. And, one of the things that we realized is that there were things we were missing from our palate, like those cheeses. And that probably was the downfall. So I was like, we would go to restaurants, the cheese would be amazing, but we'd go to the store and it's like, ew. Like, no. Right. So we kind of just decided no cheeses. But then I realized, like, for me, and it does take understanding yourself and kind of, to me, it's about a research on both your foods and yourself, because I realized that I started being so cold, like anemic, right? And so I wasn't getting enough iron. And of course, we're raised to think that irons come from red meat, and of course now I know iron is in everything. But we started doing, let's see about vegetarian, right? Let's add some of the cheeses and the dairy back in, not understanding that that's where my inflammation was coming from. Yeah. Right? Sure. Guys, listen, there's a lot behind this plant-based eating, but not realizing that's where a lot of my inflammation was coming from. I was still being really cold, and so then we were like, let's introduce fish back in. And my husband's real big about a clean fish, white fish, the salmons, the trout, sea bass. He definitely is a no-go on shrimp and catfish, those bottom dwellers. So it's definitely a no-go on that. But we still incorporate veganism to a greater degree in our nutrition, right? So hence us getting our meal preps from you. We get at least 3 days of meals from Chef Charm. And that helps to kind of balance things out. And then in between there, we'll add our fishes in if we want them. But it's all about figuring out what works for you.
Right.
Right.
It's
so
true.
I'm not, and let me tell you, even when I was eating vegan, I wasn't educated enough to know not to wear a belt. But again, my reasoning wasn't, unfortunately, guys, about protecting the animals.
Right.
Ooh, sorry.
Right.
But it was more about understanding and taking care of myself.
Right.
Because first of all, you can't give out what you don't have. So if I don't know to take care of myself, why am I going to take care of some animals?
Come
right?
on, that is so true.
And I think that's something that we all need to kind of think about.
And you need to start there.
Right. Because we care too much about other things outside of humanism. Right.
And that's hypocrisy.
Right. And so I think it's extremely important that there's people like a Chef Charm that can talk about the benefits, right? Because we're not downing anything, right?
Not at all.
But the truth of the matter is, this country is sick.
It is.
And I'm wondering where that's coming from, right? And so let's just take a moment to control what we can, and that's what we put in our bodies.
Right. What we put in our bodies, and also our bodily exercise, because I'm a Christian, and there's a scripture that says that bodily exercise profit little. So it doesn't say it doesn't profit at all. It says it profits little. So basically what it's saying is that you need to move your body. You need to do some things, and it doesn't matter how old or how young you are. Even if you're, let's say that there are some things that you really can't do, because, I understand that some of us, we can't move too much.
Right.
But if you're sitting in a chair, and if you can move your arms, move your arms. If you're able to move your legs, move your legs. If you're able to get on a sit-down bike, do that. Get some mobility,
right?
To help you. And then, but at the end of the day, if you go to the gym 5 days out of the week, but you're not changing what you put into your body, it's not going to profit you at all as well. So you talked about the iron. So we can get iron from dark leafy vegetables, from legumes, from quinoa, chia seeds, things like that. It's a lot of things. And so what I did for me, because just like you, I was noticing my hair was shedding. I was noticing I was cold. So I Googled. I'm not going to lie. I Googled to see what can I do, what can I put in my body to, to diminish that, along with taking supplements, because, again, I'm not against that. And so when I did that, that made the difference. Like vitamin D. Vitamin D is helps our mood, and especially with us being pigmented, we need vitamin D. We especially need vitamin D, brown people. And so, if you're lactose intolerant, you don't get vitamin D just from milk, dear. No, vitamin D comes from fruits and vegetables. It comes from those things, because think about this. The vitamin D that we get from the sun, it comes into our body. It goes into the earth. So you're going to get that same thing and put it right back into your body. So, I mean, but it's the honest to God truth.
And it's the same thing about protein, because people are like, oh, how am I going to get my protein? I love broccoli.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, and
for
it's full of protein.
Yeah, and as a midwife with the mothers that I serve, I definitely print off a protein log for them, a list of fruits, vegetables, things that eat, and it does have meats on it. Yeah. But definitely I gear more towards that, because I'm about supporting the body systems, right? And we can only support that by what we put in our bodies. Right. So, how do we support the reproductive system? How do we support the cardiovascular system?
Yes.
How do we, support the immunity system?
Yes.
Like, these things are important, the circulatory system. Right. So I work with my clients on systems, right? And so with my moms that are pregnant, we're looking to get 90 to 100, maybe 150 grams of protein a day in. Right. How do you do that? Well, you take your protein counter and you just circle the things that you love to eat and put together a meal plan. And if you don't know how to meal prep, the lovely, lovely Chef Charm will be more than happy to help you with that. And so these are the things that I want the community to know about beautiful people like you, right? Before we start to wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share with the community on today in regards to your journey, in regards to having a healthy lifestyle, in regards to how to contact you? What do you have for us today?
Okay. So what I want to share is that it's never too late. I began this journey at the age of 45. I had been a heavy child, heavy teen, heavy adult majority of my life. As a matter of fact, when I had my first child, and I don't think I've ever voiced this, but I weighed over 400 pounds when I was pregnant, carrying my son over 22 years ago.
Did you have any complications with that?
I had complications. Even the way that they had to, even the way that he had to be born out of my body at that time.
Did you have to have a C-section?
I had the old school C-section back
that
in the day.
T-cut.
The T-cut.
Oh!
Yeah. Now since then, I've lost a lot of weight. I've had to have some skin removed from my body because of the weight loss and whatnot. So I don't have that anymore. But what I want to say is that you're not too old, you're not too young. But the younger you start, the longer you live, the longer that you extend your life.
Exactly.
So even if you start later, let's say you're diabetic, let's say that, that you've been diagnosed with cancer, there are some cancer fighting foods that you can begin to eat.
Absolutely.
There are some diabetic fighting foods that you can begin to eat to reduce or to even eliminate what's going on in your body. Like I said before, some doctors are not knowledgeable, so they may not be able to explain that or,
Right.
Give that information to you, but they can refer you to someone like a nutritionist or to someone like ourselves, like Dr. Cheryl.
Naturopathic?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, exactly. And so I just want to encourage us all to know that we must live with purpose and live on purpose. It's not good enough to just wake up and go throughout your day. Try to plan your life, plan what you eat, plan your day out, because time is of the essence. Time is so short. Tomorrow isn't promised to any of us. And if we're wanting to build legacy for our children and our children's children, we just can't build it financially. We have to let them know that you got to live to spend this money, or you have to live to invest this money.
Right.
You understand? So
Right.
we're big on that, and trust me, I'm one of those same people. But if I can't teach my kids how to, live as far as, meditation, as far as praying, being grateful, being things. That's the thing. Gratitude, humility, love. All of these things.
It makes our community better.
Listen.
It
really does. I mean, we talked about loving yourself. You cannot love anybody else.
Come on.
If you don't love yourself and if you don't know what that looks like.
Absolutely.
So I can't take care of someone else if I'm not taking care of me first.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And listen, guys, Chef Charm just stated something that kind of hits me to my core. So she's talking about ways to heal yourself. Like, it's not too late.
No,
I want to challenge you to not even allow yourself to be in that space. Okay? So what I want to challenge you to do today is to choose life today, right? Don't wait for diabetes to show up. Don't wait for cancer to show up.
Yeah.
Don't wait for inflammation to be rippled through your body and you're with pain, and don't wait for those things to happen. You can take action today. And the first step can just be inquiring.
Right.
Actually, the first step is watching us on today. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for being here today. And then the next thing is to make a decision on, whether or not you want to just start just investigating, researching, understanding what's good for your body. So we're talking about preventative, right? Which is so important. But if you found yourself there, intervention is also necessary. Okay? So I truly appreciate you guys coming out on today and listening to us with Elevate with Dr. Cheryl on Motivating Radio. I am the owner and operator of the Tree of Life Birth, Counseling, and Wellness Center and the nonprofit Completely Fit, a healthy lifestyle, in which we work with individuals' mind, body, and spirit, mental and maternal wellness. We're super excited to be out here in the community. We want you to stay tuned because we have more beautiful people coming on this platform to share beautiful things with you to kind of help enrich life as we all move forward. And on today, I truly appreciate you being here, and I truly appreciate you being a part of my health journey, and I'm going to forever be grateful, and I thank you so very much. But before we leave, Chef Charm, tell us again, how do we get in touch with you?
Yes, so at this current time, the way you can get in contact with me is strictly through Instagram and Facebook. You can also contact me by email at info@charmedbymissa.com. So it's the same as my Instagram and Facebook handle, Charmed by Missa, CharmedBymissa.
Thank you. And remember, you can always reach your licensed professional counselor and your licensed midwife at the Tree of Life Birth, Wellness, and Counseling Center.com. You can also reach me on my socials at Tree of Life BCW or at completely_fit_midwifery_care. And you can always reach me on Facebook at either of those handles as well. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you need to reach out to me via phone, you can call 214-912-2614. And I'll repeat that, 214-912-2614. If for some reason you have any questions about the show, if you would like to be on the show, if you would like to reach out to anyone that has been, feel free to reach out to me, Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd, with Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd on Motivating Radio. Thank you. Mwah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Mwah.
You are listening to Elevate with Dr. Cheryl Edinbyrd. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.